Welcome! This explainer is produced by EasyPathUni in coordination with Yazan Ibrahim. Today, we're diving into the foundations of organizational governance. Our whole approach here is to keep things interactive and simple using real-world examples you can actually use. In today's world, good governance isn't just about checking off boxes on a compliance sheet. Not anymore. It's a real strategic tool for success. So, let's get right into it.
Here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to talk about what governance really is, using a fantastic analogy. Then, we'll look at how the rules of the game have totally changed. After that, we'll break down the 6 key pillars that hold everything up. And finally, we'll uncover the huge strategic advantage you get when you do this right.
So, let's start with the big question. What is organizational governance really? Well, at its core, it's the system that directs and controls a company. You can think of it as the master plan. It decides who has the authority, how major decisions get made, and how everyone is held accountable for reaching the company's goals, not just financially, but ethically too.
And here is probably the best way to think about it. Imagine governance is your organization's operating system, like Windows or Mac OS. You don't really see it all the time, but it is always running in the background, making sure that every single part, from finance to HR to marketing, works together without crashing. It's that invisible architecture that makes everything else possible.
And this way of thinking is a massive shift. In the past, governance was pretty much just a box-ticking exercise. It was all about following regulations and keeping shareholders happy. But today, it's a strategic weapon. It's about creating real, long-term value for everyone involved. That means employees, customers, the community, and building an organization that's strong enough to handle whatever the world throws at it.
So, why the big change? Well, it was kind of a perfect storm, wasn't it? I mean, think about it. We've got a globalized, digital world, this huge focus on ESG, environmental, social, and governance factors, and you have stakeholders who want way more than just profits. Then you throw in a few massive corporate scandals that just destroyed public trust, and suddenly the old way of doing things just wasn't going to cut it anymore.
Okay, so if the old way is out, how do you build a great governance system for today? Well, it all comes down to these 6 essential pillars. They are the absolute foundation that supports everything else. Let's take a quick look at each one. First up, accountability. This one is the bedrock. It means there is zero confusion about who is responsible for what. It's all about owning your decisions and their consequences, both the good and the bad, and being totally open about the results. This is how you build a true culture of ownership.
So what does this look like in the real world? Imagine a board of directors creates a special subcommittee whose only job is to watch over regulatory compliance. They have a clear mission. They can't pass the blame. And they have to regularly report on how things are going and if anything goes wrong. That right there is accountability in action. Building right on top of accountability is our second pillar, transparency. This is all about operating out in the open. It means your decisions, your actions, your data, it's all clear and easy for people to access. And why does that matter? Simple. People trust what they can see and understand. It's the absolute fastest way to build credibility. A fantastic example of this is when a company publishes a detailed sustainability report every year. They're willingly sharing data on their environmental footprint, their social programs, all of it. They're basically opening up their books to show the world, the good, the bad, and the ugly, what they're up to. Now that's how you build some serious trust.
Our third pillar is fairness and equity. This is really the ethical heart of good governance. It's about making sure that big decisions don't just help one group at the expense of everyone else. It means you're respecting the rights and interests of all your stakeholders, from the biggest investor right down to the newest employee. So how do you put that into practice? A strong whistleblower policy is a perfect example. It creates a safe, unbiased channel for anyone to raise a red flag about a problem without being afraid of getting punished for it. This kind of policy protects the person speaking up, and it protects the integrity of the entire company. Next up, we have responsibility. Now, this one goes way beyond just following the law. It's about being a proactive, positive force in the world, a good corporate citizen. It means you're actually thinking about the bigger impact your business has on society and on the planet, and you're trying to make things better. A really powerful example of this today is when a company commits to a net zero carbon emissions target. Think about it. Nobody is forcing them to do that. It's a choice. It's a voluntary, long-term promise that requires serious investment and serious change. That is what taking responsibility for your footprint truly looks like.
Pillar number 5 is engagement. And no, this does not just mean sending out a monthly newsletter. Real engagement means you are actively listening to,
and involving the people who are actually affected by your business decisions. It's a two-way street, a real conversation, and it leads to much smarter outcomes.
For instance, some really smart companies set up formal advisory boards. They'll bring in community leaders, technical experts, even customer representatives, and give them a seat at the table to provide input on strategy. Instead of just guessing what people need, they're actually asking them. It's brilliant.
And that brings us to our final pillar, effectiveness and efficiency. Now, a lot of people think good governance just means more red tape that slows everything down, but it's actually the exact opposite. A great governance system should make the organization perform better. It keeps you focused on the right goals, that's being effective, and it makes sure you're not wasting resources to get there, that's being efficient.
Just take a typical board meeting. Instead of getting bogged down for hours in routine administrative updates, a well-governed company streamlines the agenda. They cut the fluff and focus everyone's time on the big, strategic conversations that really matter. That simple change makes the entire leadership team more effective.
Okay, so that's the 6 pillars. It might sound like a lot of work, I get it, which of course leads to the most important question of all. What's the real payoff here? Why should we even bother with all this?
Well, the payoff is absolutely huge. Strong governance builds you an ironclad reputation and deep, lasting trust. It directly leads to better performance and much smarter risk management. It helps you attract investors, it builds a powerful ethical culture, and it makes your organization way more innovative and ready for change. In other words, it's not just about dodging bullets, it's about building a rocket ship.
But okay, how do you turn these big ideas into a real practical system? Well, that's where something like a global standard, ISO 37000, comes into play. It provides a recognized blueprint, a truly actionable framework for putting all of these principles into practice. It's like the instruction manual for building excellent governance.
So, we'll leave you with one final question to think about. When you look at your own organization through the lens of these 6 pillars, is its operating system designed for the way things used to be, or is it truly ready for the future? Something to think about.